So let me ask you, do you move well, eat well, and sleep well? Do you feel that modern medicine is looking out for your best interest? Do you know how to take care of your body so you can stay pain-free and in the activities you love? Do you know what options you have? If not, that's a problem, and this podcast is the answer. I'm Trevor Folker, and welcome to the Green Bay Health Project podcast. The Green Bay Health Project podcast is sponsored by Movement, Performance, and Rehabilitation, where we help the athletes and active adults move better, perform better, stay pain-free, and in the sports and activities that they love. We do this by focusing on their movements and optimizing their mobility and strength. We believe that your body is your greatest tool, and when you take care of it, you can move better, you feel better, and you thrive. So head to movement-rehab.com, that's mvmt-rehab.com, to learn how we can help you stay active and pain-free. Hey guys, Trevor Folker here with the Green Bay Health Project podcast, and today we have Kelly Demers joining us, owner of True North Performance. Kelly, thanks for jumping on the podcast today.
Yeah, you bet.
And let's just get right into it. So can you tell us or tell me a little bit more about the background story of how True North Performance came to be, and if you're maybe some of your own personal fitness journey, because from what I know, it's pretty inspiring.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me, first of all, on your program. I'm honored to be a guest. So my backstory, the short story is that I was very overweight and I ate poorly. And the thing that is most upsetting about saying those things is there's a general assumption that because I was overweight and because I ate poorly that I was lazy. And I think that's why I've had such a hard time saying, yeah, I was overweight and I ate poor. Because I was never lazy. That was never the case. It was just my focus at one point wasn't on me. My focus was elsewhere. And so, and I look back and I think, okay, well, I was working full time. I was married. I had young kids at home. I was going to school on top of it. You had homework assignments and there was papers that were due. And my focus just kind of shifted to everyone else. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped exercising because I felt like my time was better spent doing other things. And I ate convenience foods, and to stay awake, I drank Mountain Dew and, like all the horrible caffeinated beverages that, right now I probably wouldn't do, but coffee doesn't count, but
no, not at all.
But at the time I really felt like, man, I'm really doing everything right. I mean, I knew there was one area that I was lacking in, and I knew what it was. And that was, I just felt like I wasn't acting like my best self. I wasn't acting like the person that I wanted to be. I wasn't setting the example that I wanted to set for my family. And there's just a part of me that said, I don't feel as good as I should, or as good as I wanted to feel. Mm-hmm. And that started to leak into other areas of my life. And so, I started this fitness or weight loss journey, and there were some horrible twists and turns along the way, right? It's never a linear path. You set the goal and, I was committed and, but I wanted results right away. And so I went on, from a nutrition standpoint, every diet available. It was, it's embarrassing, looking back, but
we've all done it. We've all done it.
Yeah. I mean, they were horrible. I mean, I tried juice diet, I think there was a cleanse diet where you drank nothing but lemon water for 2 days.
That sounds yummy.
Yeah. Do you ever hear I know there was a cabbage diet in there where you could eat as much as you wanted. You just had to eat cabbage.
I've never heard of that one.
So it was so horrible. It was I don't know. I read something, because the internet, of course, was such a great source of.
It's always right. Yeah.
There were so many different things. There was Weight Watchers and Slim Fast and all. Mm-hmm. I tried it. Mm-hmm. And, the fitness side of it kicked in. And so I joined a gym on the east side of Green Bay, and, you show up and I didn't know how to use the equipment and I felt out of place. And so I thought maybe I'll join a group fitness class. And it involved jumping and stepping and punching and I don't know, kicking. And
Billy
when,
Blank style.
I mean, when you're not coordinated, that's horrible. And so it turned out to be an absolute nightmare, not just for me, but for, everyone, including the instructor at the time. You think back and you're like, wow, there's nothing like feeling out of place and then having all of your insecurities and bumbling around put on
For
just,
sure.
for the rest of the gym. And, it didn't work. And so, you know, at some point I just kind of pulled back from that and had this come to Jesus moment, like, dang girl, like, you're smarter than this, just take a step back. Like we've got to stop doing, this craziness. And so started to be a little bit more intentional with my effort. And I started from ground zero, like literal ground zero. I was over 200 pounds. I was extremely out of shape. I had a bevy of bad fitness and nutrition habits. And so I put together this plan, and the steps were so small, right? It was a really long road. And so some of my first steps, for example, were I set a goal of making a healthy breakfast every day for 2 weeks. So, that commitment to myself that, hey, no longer am I going to grab a muffin and a Mountain Dew and I'm out the door. Every morning I'm going to eat a healthy breakfast. And that was my goal for 2 weeks. That was it.
That's what you got to do, though. I mean, we've talked about the Atomic Habits book and just kind of like you keep saying, start small, accomplish those things, and then you just start to feel better about yourself because you can look back and be like, well, I've done that now consistently for 2 weeks, and then it just starts to build.
For sure. I mean, and I will tell you that habit building, it's slow for sure.
Mm-hmm.
My mindset was at the time, listen, it didn't happen overnight. I'm so tired of constantly starting again. I couldn't do another 10-day cleanse or 2-day cleanse or what it was, that it just said, slow and steady. And so, after the first 2 weeks, then the next 2 weeks was up. And, I set a goal. I remember there was one goal for a 2-week period that was, you're going to walk 15 minutes at lunch most days of the week. And so, that meant, couldn't manufacture more time in my day. And so that meant sometimes at lunch during my lunch break. And I think at the time I probably had 30 minutes, so run in the bathroom and quick change into a pair of shorts and a t-shirt and for 15 minutes and then come back and throw my clothes back on and go back to, work clothes on and go back to work. And so I did that more days than not. And just that process of building habits continued, and it added up. And after about a year or so, I had lost a significant amount of weight, and I started, instead of walking, I started running. And then I worked up to training for full marathons, and I was running full marathons. Wow. And it was, but that pendulum swung so hard for me that I went from being overweight and unhealthy to being,
the other end
or underweight and unhealthy, because I, was probably over exercising. I wasn't eating enough calories to support the demands that I put on my body. And it just, that's not healthy either.
Right.
So that's kind of what led me to this, the next steps. And that was, enter CrossFit. I started CrossFit with a girlfriend, and when I started, I was broken. My knees were swollen 24/7. My back was sore. I mean, you got to see this with your runner clients.
Yeah.
I had plantar fasciitis. I couldn't stand up straight when I got out of bed. It was
you're just checking all the check marks off right now.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it was horrible. And we made this commitment. We're going to try something new. And we went to our first few classes, and she was like totally gung ho. And I absolutely hated it. I mean, like, it was like, if you do not go one day, I am gone. So, slowly, I told her I would go through it until running season and then, whatever. But eventually I fell in love with the concepts, and not necessarily the movements, but because
Mhm.
of the way that I started to feel. I mean, I felt stronger, I felt more confident. I was all of a sudden a little bit more self-assured. I wasn't hurting as much. I mean,
Mhm.
all of a sudden this started to take on a new, instead of a weight loss or a fitness journey, took on a little bit more holistic view, and it went to more of a well-being journey, and
Mhm.
was much more expansive than just exercising and nutrition. So I started to look at things like my sleep and my stress levels and mindset and hydration, and just in general being happier with my life. And then in the middle of this is where the True North kind of came in. At one point, there was an opportunity to be a partner in the gym,
Mhm.
and so I jumped at that opportunity. And at that time, the gym was Titletown CrossFit.
Okay.
And then, maybe about 2 years later, the opportunity came up to buy out that other partner. And I jumped at it. And I jumped at it because it gave me complete autonomy to create something a little bit different.
Mhm.
Our roots are still where they have always been. The initial coaching team that has been there since the beginning, pretty much all of them stayed with me, and we started to create something a little bit different. And for us, I took over in early 2019. And so we had a full year of True North performance before COVID hit.
Okay.
So, and that's kind of, where you and I met, right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
whole COVID craziness.
It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
Still is.
yeah, for sure. But I felt like, it was interesting because I think at that point we had started to create more of these, like, let's create movement for restorative purposes.
Mhm.
Let's start to, and Nick will talk about, programming at some point, I'm sure, with you, but
Mhm.
it really became kind of our life's mission then to create something a little bit different. And we were just hitting our stride when the COVID the close came, and what I thought was going to be this like devastating blow to the business turned out to be an incredible opportunity for us.
Mm.
Um, it gave us the opportunity to try out and perfect our remote coaching program. It gave us an opportunity to focus on our nutrition coaching, and we retooled our onboarding processes like 100%. They're
That's
completely
awesome.
different than when I started. And we did a breakthrough series, which is made up of small, challenges around that well-being theme in the gym. And so, you know, it bubbled into something better than what we were pre-COVID. So that's
Mhm.
kind of a cool thing. But that's kind of like my backstory and the backstory of how True North Performance got started, and a little bit about our roots,
Yeah.
gym area. But
No, that's awesome.
uh,
And
yeah, it's been
like,
an adventure.
yeah, it always is, right?
Yeah,
There's,
right.
I think that's one of the biggest things people don't realize is it's always a roller coaster. There's never, like you were saying, it's never linear. There's not a quick fix.
For
It's going
sure.
to take some time, and it's an investment. That your health is an investment. You have to view it as such, and you have to understand it's going to ebb and flow, and there's going to be good times, there's going to be bad times, but consistency is where it's at.
Yeah, for sure. And I will tell you, it's hard when you're a mom and you've got young kids at home, because there's, hopefully, I was lucky to find myself in a good group of women that,
Hmm.
we didn't, I always felt like, boy, I can't work out, because if I don't work out, then I'm not going to be able to participate in the carpool, and somebody will give me a hard time, right? Like mom shaming for not, I mean, for
Yeah.
time to, so yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, consistency is definitely key. I think that in particular, I know that everybody's under a lot of stress now, and
Hmm.
taking that time is just so important to show up as your best self every day, and that's not always easy to do. But taking the time to really get out and be active is so important.
Yeah, there's I don't know if you've read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life,
Oh, for sure, I
but
have.
yeah, I mean, one
Yeah.
of the rules in there is I can't, I'm basically paraphrasing right now, but it's like take care of yourself before you take care of anybody else, because what good are you to other people if you're not healthy or you're not able to care for yourself, essentially.
Absolutely. We always use the mantra of, or that the idea of, why do you think the airlines say, in the event of emergency, secure
Mm-hmm.
your mask before helping others? I mean, it's so key to what we do. And I think a lot of times it's easy to push off and say, I'll come last. And I know the thought is to be noble, but in
Mm-hmm.
the end, it's not, because you're not able to help it, as much as what you thought. So it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes.
It is. I mean, I think everybody's guilty of that. It's you want to help everybody else, and in the mean, sometimes you don't even
For
feel
sure.
yourself kind of going down that downward spiral until you take a look one day and you're like, wow, like I feel awful, or I'm not happy with this part of it. And it's like, how did I even get here? And then the
Right.
climb back out of it is a grind, but it's
Yeah.
definitely
And,
possible.
I mean, and it does happen so slight, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I, what wasn't heavy, early on. And then, it was just, hey, the kids need me. I got this. Hey, the kids need me. And then it was, you know what? I mean, they don't really need me right now, but I'm kind of tired and I could use this time to
Mm-hmm.
veg on the couch, or I'm just gonna, and it just started to be, your thoughts become things, right? So all of a sudden your things become habits, and now you've got bad habits, I mean, and
Right.
it's easy to do. So
For sure. For sure. Well, I mean, it's obvious you're passionate about it and just everything you guys are doing. And, I like to think there's a shift or a wave kind of happening of people wanting to become more active and more fit. And, something I say pretty often, or I have found myself saying it more often now, is that what you do now or today impacts what you're able to do later in life. So if you want to be active, you want to be healthy as you get older, you got to be taking care of yourself today and right now, because that's
for sure.
going to impact a lot of
Yeah.
things.
I mean, it really does. And I don't think when you look at people that have, it's, health before wealth, or health is wealth. I mean, there's so much truth to that I don't think
Mm-hmm.
people place enough value in the little things that you do every day contribute to your overall health. So it's not, an all or nothing deal. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have to be you have to work out and eat perfect every day. If you can just work out and you know what, so you messed up a little bit at lunch, or you ate, three desserts, whatever,
Yeah.
you just pick it up. Like, don't get caught in that. Just brush it off and start again. I mean, I think people have to understand that those, quote unquote slip ups are actually just a normal part of the process. I mean, so once you accept that, it becomes a lot less paralyzing, and you're
Yeah,
not trying to be perfect.
for sure. And that's personally, that's where I find, or before I kind of changed a lot of things, where I did the whole if it fits your macros craze. And like,
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I thought I was eating healthy because I was hitting the macros, and that included eating 2 or 3 pizzas a week, Jack's pizzas, and I was
Oh,
getting
for sure.
stronger, but I was feeling terrible. And you think you're doing things the right way, and it's easy to slip up, but then that's where you reach out to people like yourself who have kind of had that journey and are on now, have figured it out and can understand, like, hey, I've been there, I know what you're going through, let me help.
For
Everybody
sure.
kind of
And
needs that outlet.
so many times people, they want to start a routine, and I wish I would have had the resources that we have in the gym available to me, because you know what we offer, the very heart of True North Performance, is that level of customization. And so it all starts at the intake process, and we do a a body fat analysis, and we take a look at, like, what are your goals. I mean, it's as
Mm-hmm.
simple as that. What does your lifestyle look like? I mean, you might want to be, six pack abs, but your lifestyle is you're entertaining 2 days a week, and you're a sales rep, and you're on the road, and I mean, like, it doesn't tell that way. And so how do we get, what's an attainable goal, what's realistic, and what works with your lifestyle, that you're not going to have to change 180 degrees from where you are. And so we build in those programs that support the person and the lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
do those, goal setting sessions on a regular basis to check in. Hey, what's going on? What went wrong? How's your body fat doing, in the last,
Mm-hmm.
90 days? Let's take a progress check.
Mm-hmm.
The things that we offer, like personal training and nutrition coaching, and we have skill sessions that are more specific. We have members that are like, I really want to be able to do a pull up, and so they'll do a skill session outside of like a group class, and we have mobility assessments to go through the different movement archetypes and find out, hey, this is, you've got an imbalance here. We also have group classes, and I just, group classes are such a fun thing, and it seems like a novel thing now because of COVID, and we just didn't. But sometimes it's nice to be able to go to a group class. But my question is like, why are you here? I mean, like, happy to have you, but what is it that you want to get from this? And it's funny because even in a group class, you have somebody that's trying to burn off some anxiety, somebody that's trying to lose weight, somebody that wants just general fitness, and so we want to, as a coach, as a coaching unit, we want to know why people are coming to us, and then we want to give them specific things in that workout to pay attention to, gets them closer to their end game. I mean, we have quite a few people that, and you've seen this in the classes too, where some people will have different equipment. Some people look like they're doing a completely different workout, and we keep the the integrity of the movements intact. But some people, maybe we've got a couple people that we inherited, some newer members that came to us with nagging injuries that were never rehabbed. So we don't want to do something that would exacerbate that. And so we create programs and protocols in place for those folks that say, hey, when I say this, you do this. It works out well, but we're able to provide that level of customization. And so somebody that's new that says, well, I should get in shape, I'm like, no, don't get in shape to us, because what happens is you end up developing all these really bad habits and come to us and you're a little bit broken and you're a little bit, like we have to fix some things sometimes. And so when we look at people that are just starting their fitness journey, it's interview all the coaches, like go and check out the facility, talk to the coaches, get an understanding of their background and their passion, but their protocols and what they're going to do specifically to help you reach your goals. And then what's that check-in process look like after you start? Talk to other members of the gym. A person should not be afraid to ask for references or referrals, and the gym should have those on hand. It's just something that should be a part of everyday life.
Right. And that's why in my opinion, it's so incredibly important for people to reach out to you and talk with you so you know those goals. And then, like you said, I've witnessed the amount of modifications that sometimes happen for individual people during workouts. And that's honestly one of my favorite parts about what you guys are doing over there. And
for sure.
Because it's you tailor it towards their goals and their needs. And if they can't do something because of whatever reason, you're able to pretty quickly modify and get them going through it. And then the other thing that I think is pretty unique for you guys is going through almost that onboarding process where you go through all the movements one-on-one, right? Yeah. And I think teach people how to move and how to complete them properly, which too many people I've seen are just throwing around weight, not really knowing what they're doing. And I think that's so important to learn how to do it.
Yeah. There's a new bond that gets formed when you're doing one-on-one onboarding, right? So we get to know them, they get to know us. But what's most important is that communication is open. Then they can say, I don't feel great when I, squat this low, or I feel great when I go overhead, or whatever it is. And the coaches will know that. And so when it comes to workout day and it's go time, the coaches already have a good plan in
Mm-hmm.
mind for everyone in the gym. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a cool program. It's a cool process. It works.
Yeah, and you guys have a great atmosphere. I mean,
Yeah, for
your
sure.
members and you all, it's unique and it's a good place to be. It's very welcoming.
Yeah. I mean, like, you don't ever want to lead with like we have the greatest, people, because like
Right.
everybody says that. I
It's
mean,
relative, yeah.
definitely say that, of course I think we do, but it's one of those things where, okay, outside of that, here's the thing, it's funny because we're not competitive exercisers, right? I mean, we're not, killing it to kill it. We're in there to live better lives. And so,
Mm-hmm.
when someone says their success story, it went from I PR'd my back squat to, which was cool. I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
that's legit, that's awesome.
Right.
Good job. Uh, some of the success stories that mean the most are, talking to a member after class and go, hey, I went to north of Cribbets and I hiked Dave's Falls this weekend. And I'm like, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't understand. Like, I hiked Dave's Falls. I've had a double knee replacement a few years ago, and a year ago, prior to starting your gym, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So, that to me is a bigger PR story, and that's, when you look at what really keeps the gym going and keeps things motivating, it's stories like that are really propelling things to new
Yeah,
heights. So,
that's what it's all about. I mean, is helping people kind of get their life back and doing things that they want to do, right?
yeah, for
And
sure.
that's what it is. Since we're talking about kind of the members, if there's like anything you notice where you're like, man, I really feel like True North Performance targets this type of person, is there that certain person that you feel is a good fit for you guys?
I would say this. I would say we have a wide variety of ages. We have a
Mm-hmm.
wide variety of skill sets. Predominantly we're a female gym. You've seen that. You fought for
Yep.
Dudes Day, so we have Tuesday Dudes Day. I mean,
Yep.
that's a thing now. But yeah, I think the bigger thing is who we're not right for, and that is, those that are really they're wanting to, the fire breathers that are going to come in and they're just gonna, kill it every single day,
Mm-hmm.
or the ones that maybe don't want to be coached. And there are
Okay.
people out there that are like, I've done this long enough. I don't really want to be coached.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just, that's not really where we're at. We're highly customizing our approach. And so I would say we're great for new people, as far as getting back into fitness, those
Mm-hmm.
that want to continue fitness, those that are looking for an atmosphere that's, laid back and fun and not overly competitive. I would say, that's where we're headed. I mean, or not even where we're headed, that's where we're
So,
at.
yeah, that's a perfect explanation
Yeah, I mean,
and
we
description.
push each other in class, and that. I mean,
Yep,
where
for sure.
craziness that always goes down, but it's
Mm-hmm.
it's done in the vein of encouragement and support, and never competition. And I think that's the big differentiator.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so I think this might be helpful for some people to hear. You're a business owner. I know you've got a lot of other things going on.
Yeah.
So how do you structure your week to make sure you're prioritizing kind of your own training and health? I mean, there's a lot of stress around starting a business, running a business, and then basically whatever life decides to throw on top of all of that. So how do you organize all of that, or what works for you?
For sure. So, yeah, every day is a little bit different, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it'd be awesome to say I have this really beautiful morning routine that is the same every day, and it's not, because it just kind of depends. There are certain things that I will do every single morning,
Mm-hmm.
but not necessarily in the same order. Meaning, I will always make breakfast. I always make sure that I plan out my day, and just kind of do a check in process. But I think the biggest thing in terms of working out is looking at, Sunday is a big prep day, and it's not necessarily a prep day just in, getting, ingredients and protein and, grocery shopping and
Mm-hmm.
all of that prepped and ready. It is taking a look and saying, what are the blue chips this week, that I need to make sure that I am present for. And I put those on, like it's
Yeah.
coaching classes. I've got a couple meetings with, you know, members, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on another venture as well, and so I want to carve out time for that. And then making sure that exercise is one of those blue chips, right? So
Mm-hmm.
making sure that in the grand scheme of things, I've got 5 big things to do today, or 3 big things to do today, that I make sure that the fourth is, and figure out a time to exercise. And
Awesome.
sometimes that means, getting there before the early morning class, which I don't love.
Wow.
I mean,
Good
but
for you.
yeah, right, right. Way to go. You're going to be totally alone.
Yeah.
But or sometimes it's, hey, I think I can do this during the middle of the day, and sometimes the plan is to do, an hour workout, and what it turns into is, well, I have a half an hour from the time that I walk in and walk out the door, but just to get it in is better than nothing, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and
For
not
sure.
every day is perfect, but I do try to tune out any distractions when I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
gym. So
Mm-hmm.
putting my phone away,
Mm-hmm.
having I love my watch, but it dings every time an email comes through or a text comes through, and the habit is always to look at it.
Yep. That's
So I
why I had to
try
stop
not
wearing mine.
to. Right. Yeah. I mean, so you just leave the watch off, leave the, phone
Yeah.
away. No one's gonna, life isn't going to change that radically in the, 40 minutes or 50 minutes that you're away from your phone. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, that has been a good, just mentally as well, to be able to
Yeah.
check out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, carving the time. I mean, there's not a secret to doing it. There's not a silver bullet. It is
Mm-hmm.
literally just sitting down with your calendar, putting it on your calendar, and then making that promise to yourself and doing
Yep.
it.
Totally agree. We do the same thing every Sunday. It's get out the planner, kind of put everything that needs to get done first, and
For
then
sure.
plan and then fill in from there. And you make the priority, and it's going to happen. You're going to make it work. You're going to find time. It's amazing once you start getting organized and planning how much time you actually find that you still have. And you
Right.
can, like you said, if you have a half hour, that's all you need. I saw a quote or a statement by David Goggins today that said, if you have, what was it? If you have a floor, you have a gym. So just
Yeah, for
something
sure.
is better than nothing.
Absolutely. I mean, I just did a post for the gym about the all or nothing
Mm,
mindset, and it's terrible. I mean, you get into that. Well, I ate bad, so I just keep going. I
yep.
can't work out for an hour, so I won't do anything, or I can't work out for a half hour, so I won't do anything. I mean,
Mm,
it's just, there's value in 10 minutes.
for
I
sure.
mean, so I think that there's so much that can be done towards leading a healthy lifestyle, that people are a lot closer a lot of times than what
Mm-hmm.
they think.
Mm-hmm.
They
For
just are.
sure.
I mean, I think that people are a lot of times too hard on themselves, trying to be perfect, when really it's never the intention. The
Yep.
intention is never to be perfect.
Yep. Nope. As long as you do a little bit, you get those habits going. It's all going to work out, and they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Um.
for sure.
So I have to ask you this. So I'm a fan of The Office, and obviously the
Yeah.
Dundies are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I was watching your award show, the Sam Squatch Awards,
Yeah.
and I want to. Where did that come from? And I felt like I was watching the Dundies.
Yeah.
Michael
So,
Scott was up there.
about as quality of a production as the, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Sam Squanch Award came. The term I was gonna do, we've got that big Yeti on the wall in the gym, and so I was
Yep.
gonna do the Yeti Awards at the end of the year, and I put it out on our private Facebook page and let everybody vote on what should be our award. And somebody, Holly from the gym, pulled
Mm-hmm.
up this like audio or like a video that was a gym outing. We did the Foxy Peddler.
Okay.
I mean, I can't verify this for sure, but I think with everybody from the gym, we tried to make it go as fast as it could. So
Yeah.
I feel like, we were really, it seemed like we were really flying there for a little bit. But in that conversation, probably after a few cocktails,
Oh, yeah.
the talk of the Sam Squanch. And so, someone's like, we should call it the Sam Squanch Awards. And so
That's awesome.
anyway, we clipped a couple funny things from that's how it previewed, was that video clips from the Sam Squanch night, which is the Foxy Peddler. And then we just gave out awards. And again, kind of true to the vibe in the gym. I mean, we didn't do a biggest back squat or biggest PR back squat. We had one that was the biggest transformation, which was like so cool, right?
Yeah.
I mean, story is, you want to talk about an inspiration. I mean,
Yeah,
that
for sure.
Also had his own transformation story, lost over 100 pounds. And in the last year, he lost 70. And
Man.
he just went from, not living a very healthy lifestyle to, changing some things. And he still likes to go out and he still likes to, I mean, he's living it up, but in that process, he found that, yeah, I can still find, I'm finding my groove. Like I can still eat healthy and have fun, and I can still, have a beer on Friday, and I can still, have a pizza. And, I mean, like those are big things that people need to understand. Like you don't have to be perfect. But
Right.
the other awards, we had the, 1465 Tenant Award, which was for the attendance, and we had the best dressed, and we had the best laugh, and we just, kind of had fun with
It's just fun.
the different things, the best sweat angel, or the biggest glistener, I mean, like just all those funny things that make the gym a fun place to be. I mean, we want to be healthy, but we still, we want to have fun.
You got to have fun. That's what it's all about.
Sure. But yeah, those Sam Squanch Awards were awesome.
They were.
I found a little, it's a Bigfoot. It was a toy. It was a Bigfoot toy, a figurine. And then I went to Hobby Lobby and we spray painted the base. We got like these wooden bases, and I spray painted them gold and then hot glued them on. And then, I was talking to my mom about it. She's like, well, it's 2020. So we made little masks, like
Nice.
Band-Aids that were cut in half. I mean, the whole thing was hilarious. But yeah, so the Sam Squanch Awards were big.
Yeah, that was awesome. And like you said, it says a lot about kind of the atmosphere that you have over at True North.
Yeah, for sure. And it's funny because people have now started to send me texts like, hey, if next year this is an award, I just want you to know that I did this. I mean, like I took this picture of my sweat angel, so I just want you to see that.
Oh, man.
Okay.
They're trying to claim their awards already, huh?
Yeah, right. Noted.
Yeah, right. Just keep that in file. Hey Kelly,
Right.
what's that picture on your phone of that big old sweat stain on the floor?
Right. How I won my major award.
Yeah. Cool. So a couple of quick questions just to round this out. So what's one of your favorite health related books?
The one that I keep coming back to is Sleep Smarter.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a good book. It's by Sean Stevenson. He just wrote a book called Eat Smarter. I have not read that one yet, but if it's anything like his previous book, I will check that out. So I would say Sleep Smarter is probably one of my favorite books. It's just an easy to read book. Right now I'm reading a book, and it's pretty good as well. It's called The Hungry Brain, Outsmarting the Instincts That Make Us Overeat. That one's a pretty good read so far. Although I think right now Sleep Smarter, just because I've been through the whole book a few times, is the best one.
Sleep is so important. I was reading about it a couple days ago, and I think the stat was something like 1 in 10 Americans don't get the average 7 hours of sleep. And just on top of making you feel crummy, I mean, it increases your risk of all kinds of like metabolic diseases.
For sure.
And
I mean, like it's one of those things where they talk about, they compare being tired to alcohol, like being drunk. And it is crazy the amount of just like mental capacity that gets lost with lack of sleep. And it's an emotional drain. You're running on, your hormones aren't balanced, and so there's a lot of things at play, and it's not just an emotional or a mental breakdown. Sometimes, I mean, with that lack of sleep, it ties back into some of your nutrition choices as well. So
Mm-hmm.
your body is trying to stay awake, and so even if you've got all your vegetables prepped and all your food prepped and it's in your fridge, your sleep deprived body is going to pick right through that or right past that and look for those, you know, quick hits, those calorie dense
Mm-hmm.
laden snacks, because the brain wants the quick sugar and that fat. So, yeah, I mean, sleep is just, it's probably the most powerful weapon in the weight loss arsenal, and it gets overlooked all the time.
All the time.
So, it's just interesting. I think we went from, and I think this is changing, and hopefully it's changing in everyone's world, not just mine. But it used to be a badge of honor, right? Like, I got 4 hours of sleep, and
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't sleep at all the last 24 hours. I worked straight through the night. We used to think that was great until you're like, wow, that's incredibly, one, not healthy. You made a ton of mistakes, and now you're just not that fun to be around. So,
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's for sure. Um, so what is your favorite health related activity to do in Green Bay or the Green Bay area?
yeah, we've got some pretty cool things in Wisconsin in general. I think that because there's a lot of seasons, right? We
Mm-hmm.
Health related in the summer. I like golfing. I'm not good at it. Uh,
Me either.
I have my own scoring system as a result of being that bad, but I still go. Um, I like kayaking. I like biking. I mean, I just like being outside. So health related activity in the summer is pretty easy, right? I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
stuff to do. In the winter, it gets a little bit more tricky. I like cross country skiing. And even walking through, we've got beautiful trails around here. We got Mountain Bay. We've got the reforestation camp off of in Swamico. And
Mm-hmm.
we've got really cool outdoor areas here that you can take advantage of. Of course, I'd be remiss if I said one of my favorite activities to do in Green Bay is to work out, of course, at True North Performance. But,
Well, obviously.
right, right.
Nice. Um, and then last one, what's one piece of advice that you'd give to help people take back control of their health, which in turn would give them back control of their life?
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's just start small. You don't need to make even 5 changes in a week. It's make one change, do it for 2 weeks, add one more thing. Habit stacking is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Start small, stay consistent with it, and just add on.
Yep.
I mean, but start. I mean, don't be afraid to start. If you screw up, that's okay. That's part of the journey, and just move on. I mean, so in addition to that, I would say one other thing that's so important, and that is, don't ever compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to walk into the gym and say, wow, it looks like, Sarah's really lifting a lot of weight today. I mean, it is. And, I don't move like Kim, or I don't move like Karen. That's okay. I mean, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 10. So
That's good. And I mean, you see that all the time, or people get intimidated, especially
sure.
going into a gym if they're new. And that's so important, is to know that you're starting and they may have been doing it for years, and you'll get there as long as you just start. That's great. That's all there is to it.
Yep. And I think that's where the coaching comes in, and we hug our new people in close, and we talk, I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
let's go back to your why. Let's go back to why you started. Let's go back to what you want to accomplish in the next 30 days, in the next 60 days. We have got our meeting on goal setting again, and our, body fat measurements, or our weight, or whatever it is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
to be that. It just doesn't have to be weight related at all. There are people that really just want to live better, healthier lives and not be so stressed out all the time. And if that's your goal, then that we've got something for you.
Yep, for sure. Well, I'm a big fan, Kelly. I love what you guys
Yeah.
have over at
Yeah,
True
for
North.
sure. I love it. I love it.
Where can people go to get in contact with you? Like email, social pages, website? What would be
Sure.
best?
So the best thing to do is to go to our website. It's www.truenorthperform.com. All one word, truenorthperform.com. And I would say if somebody's really interested in just getting started and doesn't want to walk into the full gym full of people, to sit down one-on-one with me or with another coach, and let's have that talk, that level of customization that says, where are you? What are your goals? What's your lifestyle like? Let's take that body fit analysis. Let's figure out where we need to start and put together a plan that is unique to their journey. So, that, and I would say another place is our social media pages. We're True North Performance Wisconsin on Instagram and Facebook. There are helpful things there as well that whether you belong to the gym or not, I think you can gain value in some of the information that's shared. And we have recipes and things like that go out once a week. So
Awesome. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for your time. This was great.
This was fun.
As always, guys, thanks for listening to the Green Bay Health Project podcast, and we will see you next time. If you would like more information about one of our guests or us at Movement Performance and Rehabilitation, just send us an email at info@mvmt-rehab.com. That's info@movement-rehab.com.